back in the saddle. You're the everyone's watching. You know it's serious. We're getting closer. This isn't over. The pressure's on. You feel it, but you got it. Oh, believe it. When you get up, when you keep pulling your head, because this is Africa. It's time for Africa.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Africa. This is your host or hostess, whichever way you want to take it. My name is Dr. Maslina M.OPARAOJI. I bring you Africa, the society and the culture. And this is podcast, the NDISCO'S Village Meeting podcast. Today we are going into episode 3, series 2. In the last episode, we talked to you about the Kolanut. And some had asked me, why Kolanut? Why start there? I wanted to share with everyone that the reason for this is that there are certain things that are not taught in the classroom. And I thought that if we are going to uphold our culture and actually perpetuate the culture, we got to find a way to bring our young adults, our young ones, to embrace the culture by learning the things that are not taught them in the classrooms, especially those in diaspora. So as my podcast is catering for those within the homeland and also in diaspora on our society and culture of Africa, I'm using everything that I can to really have them tune in. And that means using all the senses of learning. The reason why I now came on live, I was live, but including visual to that is I wanted to beg on the senses to, instead of just listening, to also see. And that's why I added the PowerPoint so that people can come back and, use as a resource, especially the young ones. So today, we are going to continue where we stopped. We started with talking about the benefits of Kolanut. What is it about? Why do we use them? And we went into also the side effects of Kolanut. But today, I want to bring us to the other side of the coin, which is presentation of Kolanut. In my ethnicity, Igbo land, where I come from, we call it selling also of Kolanut, selling in quotation. And we would share with you why it's called selling, because when you have a gathering of many people from diverse communities or villages or areas, they come together, or clans, as whichever way you want to translate all those little entities that confuse everybody. When they come together, they're from different aspects. So the Kolanut is kind of sold in parentheses. After that, it's blessed, toasted, and all that, and broken. And this is where we are going today with this. Again, we thank you for joining us. And we know you have other things to do, but make time and listen. The beauty of this in the podcast fashion is that you can start and stop. Listen to that when you're doing chores or anything else. So if you're looking at my slide here, again, remember when we talked about proverbs that surround Kolanuts? There are so many of them. He who brings Kolanut brings life, or G, as we call it in that area, Obi, or Ubi, as you call it in some areas, Goro, and all that. But another proverb is Kolanut represents freedom. A filthy hand does not touch it. What does that mean? It means that you got to be pure of heart. So when somebody comes to your house, you are presenting the Kolanut in the goodness of your heart. If you are not welcoming this person as far as my culture is concerned, you are not presenting any kola nut. And when you come to somebody's house and they don't present kola nuts, they haven't welcomed you. So that's why it's also presented with um, the cleanness of your heart, the purity of your heart or mind. Again, there are some other, wherever there is good, there is evil. So we're not going to go into that aspect again. There are also some myths about, or stories actually, about what happens with people who present Kolanut with bad women or bad heart. But we're sticking with our positive aspects today. In Igbo land of the southeast of Nigeria, it is translated as Oji bo Oji bo nwa amadi. Akarụrụ anaghị aga ya n'ihu. That means also what I just said. Kola nut represents freedom. A filthy hand does not touch it. Don't ask me where that originated. I try to see who wrote that, but it's unknown, like, just like many other African proverbs. So let's get next to talking about um, the components of the kola nut. When you see these little nuts, or big ones actually, some of them, they come in different species. One thing you will discover is that when you look at them, some of them come in one lobe, some in two lobes. And so as you are breaking them, you're seeing that some of them have more lobes, or what they call cotyledon, than others. So let's examine what that means. So this is not me. It's what people have researched and maybe handed down to us from our ancestors, saying that when you have a one-lobed kola nut, it's called Oji Obi, the first kola nut from which others emerge. So it is a big deal. It is one of those that are kind of kola nut that's unique. Okay. It is considered neither male nor female. It is an entity. Some designate it as Chukwu, the god, who alone is himself and by himself who created the universe. So you can identify that is rare to see one-lobed Oji, but is there. There are some that you bring up and there are two lobes in them. They're called Oji Ngworo. Oji Ngworo that's again, I'm using my Igbo language. Other areas, whether Yoruba, whether Zimbabwe area, anywhere in the world that consumes this particular product or fruit called kola nut, have ways of interpreting what the components of these lobes are, or these nuts are. Just remember that kola nut is spiritual in some areas, other than just being a fruit to eat. Two lobes, as they say, is called Ojungworo, depicting male and female aspects. It is said that this belongs to the spirits and encouraged not to be used in religious or cultural celebrations. So whenever you see, and I've watched and observed, when the men are breaking the kola nut, there are comments made as to, oh, Obarole, how many did they come? How many pieces did we get from them? Even before we get to the point of breaking them into little pieces. But that first aspect, components of looking at the structure of it, is what we're talking about here. If they come in three lobes, this is called Oji Ikenga. Ikenga is the warrior deity. Oji Dike is also called Oji Echichi. Again, other people have names for them. The three-lobed kola nut symbolizes individual achievement. It's a good omen to have that also. It's called masculine and consumed by warriors, brave men, titled men. Sometimes actually they are prescribed for women who are seeking male children, to eat these. So if you go to a medicine man or a local, medicine man, maybe that's one of the things they use for fertility or those seeking male children. When you have 4 lobes, it's called Ojudo Nangozi. It is termed the Kolanut, peace and harmony, full of blessings, because it has all the components fulfilled in one nut. 2 females, 2 males. Okay, and it symbolizes progress, as they say, and happiness, because everything is complete in it. A lot of times you see the 4-lobed nuts being celebrated on. Then there are those nuts that come in 5 lobes. They call them omen of prosperity, wealth, completeness. It is welcomed as a symbol of reproduction. So if you are someone who has really progressed, or you have been opportune to have many children, this is also offered to you as a symbol of your progress in progeny. Is it used? So when you have um, a knot that has 5 lobes, that's the ones that lobes, sorry, the one that we use in dispute settlement, when you are administering oath or covenant, as the Igbo people will say, to signify peace. When you break this 5-lobed kolanut and everybody really partakes in it or eats that, who have been feuding or in conflict and all that, it means that there is peace after that, hopefully. Some come in 6 lobes, which is also a good sign, showing that you are in communication with our ancestors, you are in commune with them. Okay, when you have some places in Igbo land, or actually in the world, that those who consume this nut, and the nut, the kola nut comes in 6 lobes. When you open up the kola nut, it really they celebrate that differently. Some people have sacrificed chicken, goat, or whatever else they have, celebrate with palm wine or hot drinks, because it's a good omen. There are the cases where, and it's very rare, to have 7 lobes in one. The 7 lobes is a powerful sign. It is a sign of double progress, double blessings to anyone who eats them. So I think this is important to know. Even some of the adults don't know the components. They just have Kolanut, they break them and they go. But it's important we know if we have to really keep the symbols or the significance of the Oji intact as it should be. So one of the things that people have asked in the past, because many people haven't seen the Oji tree or the Kolanut tree, it might look like the cocoa tree or any other tree, but they also come in pots like this. I wanted people to know or to see that this is the natural packaging of this. When you break that, that's the first picture on the left. In the middle, there you start seeing the kola nut out of the pod. And this is where some of them come in many. And then when they are all cleaned or peeled back, you find the nature of the kola nut itself on the right, the one with the colors. So they can come in any of these colors intact, or in the lower middle, dried. So we are looking at it as fresh kola nuts. I wanted to also share that kola nut is presented in platters. They are not, in some places they have the regular plates, or even on a flat surface, they put that with the knives or whatever is being used to break the kola nuts. But it's customary for you to see them presented in any of these utensils here or these platters. Because it's a special thing to bless a kola nut or orgy. And so you see the one in the upper row, it could be in the basket like that. It could be in that first one that looks like a monkey head. If you open that up, you see that, the orji is put in the hollow part, while, I will talk about what is used in eating the orji being put in the middle. The third one on top also, the one that looks like a round dish, is also a form of platter for the orji. The last one on the right, on the top, is also, these are two different types of platters. Just like the bottom left is another type, the middle one is another type. And on the bottom right, the all the way right, are some of the, lobes of this kola nut. So as you see the whole kola nut, the three of them on top, the 2, 4, 5 below are the lobes that I was talking about. So these ones have been divided, just broken into, that one must have come in 5 lobes, which, like we explained, is good. So let's talk about presentation of kola nut. We've talked about everything. So individual, when somebody comes to your house, the picture on the left, you are presenting to one person. So the owner of the house, whoever it is that is your host, that you can, is the one that presents you with the kola nut. If it is an event, we'll talk about when that proceeds to that. So in the personal, or just one person coming into somebody's home presenting the kola nut, you see that first picture on the left, putting it in a plate and giving to the person. Now, one thing that I looked for, I couldn't find, is what is the right thing to give you: one kola nut, 2 kola nuts, 3, 4, 5, a basket of it. That I couldn't. So I'm not going to talk about that, because I don't have a conclusive um, um, reasons for somebody giving you 1 kola nut or 2 or 3 or more. Okay. So like in the middle, I chose the picture of Peter Doce, because I know him as, I just feel he's a statesman that is a full representation of our Igbo culture. If you see in his hands, he has a kola nut, and there's another platter there with the kola nut. And sometimes they put other stuff that we will talk about later, like what we call the chalk nzu and all that, that is also used in blessings. On the top right, you see the man in red and the red cap also being presented. The kola nut is presented with 2 hands. Again, on the bottom left, to the 2 gentlemen, one is presenting the kola nut, and the other one may not even, the way to acknowledge that is to touch the plate or the platter to say, I acknowledge your presentation of the kola nut. Thank you. So we have that. In the middle, the picture in the middle bottom, that shows you that we are not the Igbo or the everybody else that I've mentioned from the last video are not the only ones that partake in this fruit. This is a picture of House Filani people sitting together, and he, the host in brown outfit, is presenting kola nut to his kinsmen. So they are sitting and it's in the tray. Presentation of kola nuts on the bottom right. Most of the time you see women carrying the platter to whoever is going to present the kola nut. The woman does not present the kola nut. Again, the woman does not present the kola nut. The woman brings the kola nut from the kitchen or from wherever in one of these platters that I've shown you, and presents it to the male or whoever is going to now present it to either the individual or to the public or during an event. Again, it doesn't matter whether you are green, yellow, white, or blue. You just do the part of carrying the platter. In some events, you see women celebrate this presenting of kola nut to whoever is going to present. So I'm using the word present twice. I don't know how to try and struggling with the fact that I can't differentiate the two, but the women bring out they present that to whoever is now going to present it to the rest of the group there. I want to say also, as we said online on episode 2, the Kolanut Oji is a powerful symbol of respect to all present. So the essence is to use it in coveting Iwebike, what the Igbo call Iwebike, which is unity, is strength. It's a show of unity. We're all partaking in this fruit, no matter how many loaves they come in, as a solidarity. So among the Igbos in Nigeria, breaking of the kola nut is deep in tradition, concepts of leadership based on age. So the next thing I wanted to talk to you about is that when this product is being presented of fruit, age matters. The elders are the first people to be looked for to present that. Different communities have different ways to present, to accept, in quotation, the fruit, or sell, again in quotation, of this fruit called Kolanut. The In my community of Mbise, I always tell you that I go home. I go back home when I'm giving an example because that's what I know better. I may not be, really 100% in knowledge of it, but I try to do my research. In this case, in my community, the first son, the opera, or the opera, like some people call it opera, is naturally designated to be presented the kola nut first. Again, if this opera is not the eldest in the group, if it is a group thing, he starts looking for the elder one. If there are several lineages within the community, the elders of these are selected or are presented, starting with the oldest person in the village if he is present. Also, there is reverence to the Eze, which is the highest title of Igbo leadership in our communities that I know of. And these people are the ones also presented the Oji because of their titles. The elder or Eze after will then bless this Oji. In my community, they also sell, in parentheses, this kola nut by way of seniority. So we have 5 clans in MBC, like they call it, and some call it community, some call it whatever. But there are 5 fingers, like I call them, or 5 brothers. Abaja, Anyara, Ekwerazu, Ezinite, and Okovoro. One assignment I'm going to give my young ones will be to go to your fathers or your uncles or anybody you see that is knowledgeable, the oldest person in the village, and ask them how Oji is sold, in parentheses, in our community or are presented to each community. Because if you have all these 5 brothers being represented in a gathering, they must all be presented the Oji. They must all be presented the Oji. And one representative might say, oh, I'm receiving this on behalf of the rest of my people or my brothers. So I'm not going to go deep into that so as not to give you the wrong impression. As a woman, I don't know much about it, but I've done my research to give you an example. And the Oji in my area of Mbise is not sold according to the local government. We have 3 local governments, Abo, Ayazo, and Ezinite. But we look beyond that to look at the sons and the seniority of the 5 brothers. Okay. Now comes the time to break the kola nut. The elder or Eze will have to bless the kola nut. Blessing it means they take off a little bit of it. They call it the cotyledon or the ear, and then, throw it to our ancestors. Again, this is where they start praying and they use Igbo language because, again, like I said in the first episode, Oji does not understand English. So you won't see an Igbo man using English to sell Oji or to bless Oji. I don't know how other communities do, but I am giving you also a challenge. If you are African or non-African, where you have Kolanut also, please ask and know how your people or your village or your community handle this very special fruit. So during the blessing, sometimes some other titled men are called together by either the oldest person or the Eze to come help him beckon on our ancestors. And they all come together and pray together to the peace, for the peace of the land, for the prosperity of the land and her people. Okay? The elder Eze, after blessing the Kolanut, offers a peace to the ancestors, like I said, and the deities as well of the land, and takes a piece himself. He must take a piece himself before anyone else. And then everybody else might, some of the custom I've seen, people who are titled will be called upon to come and pick, one Kolanut. When you have a tray of it, they take one each. But when they don't have many of them, I think they cut them into pieces. They break it, they pray over it, and call on the small gods to take their prayers to the big chi, to the big God. So that is how this also works around. And again, I'm not giving you all the details of this fruit and how it is being presented. I want you to go, ask questions about, the gaps in between this information giving you. Again, women's role is to just bring it up and have the males do what they do. Elder will present it, others touch it and acknowledge that they have seen the Kolanut. Okay. The blessings are gone. The titled men get their own share. Oji is eaten after that. Somebody breaks them into little pieces for people to eat. So what goes with Oji, with like some people ask. The Kolanuts are sometimes consumed with what we call alligator peppers. Like you see the picture on the left. These are the pods on top. They come like gloves, like, they're in a web on top. And then if you open up that second area, the middle area, you see those little, they are pepperish to eat. So they are used in eating the kola nuts. Some people just eat the kola nuts like they are. In the middle is what looks like a peanut butter jar. Yes, these are peppered peanut butter like, concoctions with ground peanuts and spices, which when you put them out on a little plate or something will look like the one on the extreme right. That paste that looks like peanut butter is also called osoji. So we call this osoji and call that okwoji, and some people call it okwoji to use in eating the oji. Okay, so that is the part that I wanted us to know. I also would like to share that because of the nature of this nut, the importance of this nut in not only Igbo land, Yoruba land or Hausa land or any other land that cherishes this nut, people are taking really good interest in it. So, did you know that in this last picture that I have on slide 9, there is someone who has put together a gallery called The Kola Nut Cannot Be Contained. So this color is just for kola nuts. As you can see in the picture in the background, It's curated by Nathan B. of University of Southampton and Ruth H. of Wellcome Collection. And what they are saying to us is that the kola nut is worthy of being studied. They are looking at whatever components, whether it's fresh or dry. Apart from now, the pharmaceutical companies looking into or having used the extras from Moji, and the drink industry is also using that to make energy drinks. There is more to this wonderful fruit than eyes can meet. And the importance is also goes beyond that. And the other day, I read somewhere where the kola nut is also being traded like in the stock market. So you have it. Um, Also, one funny thing that I learned is that between August 5 and September 3, the kola nut, there's a zodiac. That's actually the zodiac sign called the kola nut zodiac sign, which represents individuals born between this period that I talked about, August 5 to September 3. And they're considered to be generous people, resilient, and have zest for life. So this kola nut aspect is really awesome and good to be studied. What I did in episodes 2 and 3 that I'm concluding now is just a tip of the iceberg. There is so much to learn from Kolanut, so much depth to it that these 2 sessions will not do justice to everything that is needed to be known. Again, I promise to make things as short as possible, not keep you long. So hopefully at this end of this meeting, this village meeting, you have captured that the kola nut does not just have benefits to them, but there are also ceremonial aspects to how to receive, bless, break them, and that each nut comes with an observation or the number of loaves that it has to make sense of what people are consuming. So at this point, I am going to wish you well and thank you for listening. Again, if you like what we're doing, keep that coming. I heard from some of you and thanking me for bringing this topic again. Many people have this topic. My mine is Google search. That's what this is all about. But I thought about a way to make it really more relevant. And I'm not saying that others are not, but knowing my young ones, they want the visual, they want to know and to make it as concise as possible. And I hope that this is a stepping stone to having them learn more. I want you to learn more about this, go deeper. Auntie just gave you a little bit of what she's learned, not all details. So, and if you're interested in what we're doing here or sharing with you, please subscribe to this YouTube or to my Facebook page with stars and to my Instagram and as well as TikTok. So thank you very much for listening in. My name is Maslina Ndidi Oparaji, Dr. Maslina Oparaji, and I am leaving you with the spirit of Ubuntu that says, I am because you are. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Okay? Bye-bye.